Hello guys. Once again, welcome to ghprepscholar. And for this video, we'll be talking about the actual application applying to these US colleges as a Ghanaian student or as an international student from Ghana, probably either done with high school or you're about to be done with high school in your final year. For most Ghanaians, over my years of what I've known, most Ghanaians use the Common App. The Common App is basically a platform that allows you that all the colleges or most of the colleges in the US are on, and you can basically have one application that basically you can submit to all these colleges just with some minor tweaks, let's say per like a school specific essay or so. But beyond that, most of the information that's required by the colleges, that's your info and like the documents that we already gathered in the document requirement stage, would mostly just be the same, and you submit it to all the schools. And it's definitely better, for me, in my opinion, than to have an option where if you wanted to apply to, let's say you had to apply to 15 schools, you had to go to each of these schools' websites or platform and submit or type out all your information, and then go to another school and type out all the information again. It will be frustrating. Not all the schools are on Common App, or for some of the schools, after you're done with your Common App process, you still have to, they might send you an invitation link where you have to go on their site and basically complete some other steps. For instance, let's say if you're applying for a scholarship for that school, you have to do some other interview steps or some other document submission. You might have to submit it on their platform or on your portal. So, but for most schools, it is enough in itself to have a completed application submitted through Common App. So I think aside Common App though, there is this other one called Coalition App. But I think for most Ghanaians, you can use a Common App. And I think with a Common App, the maximum amount of schools you can apply to is 20 schools. Common App, as I said, they will ask for your information, all the documents that we ask you to have in document requirement stage. Basically, just submit some of them and also information on those documents. But also, it's a platform to invite your teachers and counselors as recommenders as well to be able to also submit the recommendations. But on their end, also, they will be given an invitation to create an account for themselves and submit the information they need to submit on their end, whether be it an evaluation or recommendation letters. So that also will be done as well. But we're going to go through the entire process. The application season, there are multiple application types, and the main ones are either early decision or regular decision. But there's also a third type called early action. And I'm going to quickly explain them so that you understand what it is. The difference between the early decision and the regular decision is that the early decision is a binding form of application, like commitment. So basically, what you're trying to tell the colleges is that if they should accept you, what you're going to do is that you will have to withdraw your applications from all the other schools you're applying to. But the benefit of doing an early decision is that normally, as the early decision, you have to submit your application for early decision one. Even the early decision, there are two types: early decision one and early decision two. For most early decision one, you have to submit it by November, like 1st November to through the maximum of like the midpoint of November. And the important part of that is that you get to know your decision from these schools as early as possible. The thing is that you can only apply to one early decision school at a time. So let's say you have a mind to apply to, let's say, 10 schools, but let's say your dream school is school X, and then you don't want to wait till March, the end of March, to hear from them, which most of the regular decision schools you hear from, because there's tens of thousands of applications and they have to read through all these applications. So you hear back from at the end of March. So you don't want to wait till March. You want to hear back by the end of the year. Like let's say you want to hear back by December or midpoint of December. That's the most important reason why you can do early decision. So if you submit your application by November, you hear back in like a month's time. And so good thing with that is if you do hear back and it's a positive response and you accept it for the rest of the year, that was what some of my friends did. They got their schools by December, and by the rest of the year, they didn't even have to bother with applications anymore. Like they were just chilling, because like it's a very, don't get me wrong, it's a very overwhelming process. But the goal is for us to make it as at least overwhelming or intimidating as much as possible. My tips on early decision schools is if you're going to pick an early decision school, there are two options of candidates normally. There are the people that honestly all they really want is they just want to get into the US. They just want to get into a school in the US, because for most of the schools that like they want to just get into a school in the US that would give them a good enough aid for them to be able to come. And honestly, that option is viable because honestly, in my years of undergrad and talking to other people, Your undergrad education, fine, the pedigree of the school to some extent matters, but I feel like most of your undergrad education really depends on you as the individual, how much work you put in. So I think the schools in itself is not really the biggest factor of how your undergrad education would be, but it really depends on the work you put in. So if you're the kind of person that all you really care about is, hey, I just want to get into a US school that would give me good enough aid, then my advice for you, take on the early decision, but also look at your the strength of your application, like your SAT scores, your WASI scores, your transcripts, your extracurriculars. Look at it all, and if you're that kind of person, I'd say pick a school that you can clearly tell that your application makes you a really, really strong candidate. Because by doing that, you kind of tell the school that, hey, let's say, for instance, you have 1500, you have 8 A's in the WASI, really like your valedictorian of your class, everything, really strong extracurriculars. You did national science and maths, like Olympiads or whatever. And then now it's like you're applying to, for instance, let's assume you're applying to a school like, let's say, University of Wisconsin Madison, which is a very good school. They have really good programs, but obviously not like at the very high echelons. They're not like sure the Ivy Leagues or those. What you indicate to the school is that you tell the school something that, hey, well, because when they read it, they like, this guy is a very strong applicant. He could have probably applied to these Ivy League schools and probably had a fair chance, and he still decided to come with us. So you know what? It tells the school that you're committed. It's in itself a committed, because sometimes these schools are asking themselves, how do we know this applicant we will not give this applicant an offer and he will later reject us? Because the schools also need to keep something they call a yield, which is the number of people they accept per the number of people they give offers to versus the number of people that actually accept that offer. So they don't want to give, like, let's say 100 offers out and only 20 people accept it. It's a low yield. So they always want to also keep their yield really high. So doing an early decision is like the most organic form of literally telling the school that you are really interested in them. Because sometimes if you don't do it that way, you have to now tell them you're interested through your essays and stuff, like, and obviously at that point, how do they really tell? So the early decision is like the purest form of indicating you're committed to a school, and obviously it's a good signal. But I know if you're the second kind of person that, like, now that's the first kind of person. If you're the second kind of person who all you really want is, like, you really, really want to go to the US though, but you really want to go to your dream school. Let's say your dream school is Columbia. Like, you're dying to go to that school. It's your dream school. You've heard so much about it. It's like your fantasy school. I'd say if that's your fantasy school, take your chances on it. Why not? But obviously, with my experience and everything, with these schools, the very top Ivy League schools and stuff, the early decision is not really as potent compared to the other schools that are not the very top schools, because with them, whether or not you do an early decision or not, they know they're the very top, so they know that you are interested in them already. And sometimes if you are not really, really, really exceptional, they're just going to defer you and put you into the regular decision. Because the reason why they do that is, if they accept you right now, they don't have an idea of how, like, the applicants are going to look like in the regular pool. So the thing is that always they're not just comparing you as a whole, they're also sort of comparing you to what they kind of anticipate other applicants would be like. So for instance, let's say you're 1500 or something, let's say you're applying to early decision, 8 days and everything. But if within them they feel like, okay, this applicant is good though, but you know what? Maybe during our regular season, we might be getting applicants to who are 1500, 1550s and everything. So maybe we don't want to take the risk of accepting this guy yet when we might be getting better applicants. So in that case, they will defer you because they don't want to make a risk or accepting you. So in that case, I mean, so it's pick and choose. But obviously, if you have a dream school and you want to do them early decision. And if you don't get in, they'll probably defer you for regular. If you get rejected, they'll apply to other school. So it's really your choice. And the regular, as I've already said, for the regular, you submit it mostly by January, your first January to, like, normally some schools will allow you as late as February to submit it, but like you get your results later in March. But there's also early decision 2, which helps, but only a few schools offer it relatively to early decision 1. And it's in the case where it's also binding in itself, but it's in the case where you probably didn't have the chance to submit an early decision 1. Maybe you were still writing your SAT, or you wanted to rewrite and get new results and better results, and you wrote it in January or something, and now you can submit. So early decision 2, you submit by January, as like you submit it normally alongside the regular decision. and then but you get to hear a result in mid-February rather than late March. So that's the advantage of that one as well. And it's also committing. But then there's the other option called early action. So sometimes you ask yourself, how do you get to hear back very early from these schools, but also not binding? You can hear back, let's say, but only very, 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 very few schools offer early action. And that one is that you can get to hear a result as early as middle of December, but it's not binding. So that is the third option. So some schools don't offer all these options, but for most of the schools, they will offer definitely early decision 1 and regular decision. Some will offer early decision 1, early decision 2, and regular decision. Some will offer early action and regular decision. So it depends on the schools, and depending on the schools you're interested in, you have to know which schools you're interested in, and then when you're doing it through Common App, they will literally let you know the options provided by the schools. Self-reporting. So now in the previous playlist, we talked about basically how to submit and register for the SAT and take the SAT. So after, let's assume you've taken the SAT and everything, you prepared for it as everything we showed you, you've taken it, your results are in. The good thing now is for the call, by registering for it and paying that $103, you give yourself a chance for them to officially send your scores to 4 schools of your choice for free. So not only to send these scores, you have to pay a fee to send these scores. I think it's $12 to send your scores to schools per school. But the thing is, now let's say you're applying to 10 schools, you got these 4 free scores. Now you have to pay $12 per school for the remaining 6. Fine, it might not be enough money, it could be money, but the thing is, there is a way you can avoid all of that. You don't have to pay all that money. And that's by just self-reporting. Now, most of these schools will allow you to self-report your scores. Like basically, they're going to give you enough trust and say, we trust you to tell us what your score is, and we're going to judge your application based on that. But if we accept you, we need to confirm that that result is true. So you only have to pay to send your official score after they've accepted you and you want to go to that school. Let's say you got offers from 3 schools. All of them you didn't have to send, but now if you accept, let's say, school Y, you have to send your score to them. That way you only have to pay a single $12 fee rather than having to pay 12 times 6 to send to all those other 6 schools. So that's the advantage of self-reporting. And the self-reporting occurs in so many ways. And when we're going through the application, you'll see one way is when you're filling your Common App, there'll be a test score section where you can report it. The second option is after you submit your application, you can email the school about it. You can email the admissions team of the school about it and literally send a PDF copy of your test results, basically. Like the PDFs that I had on mine, basically you can send a PDF copy of your test results and tell them about it that you want to self-report. Or some of them will have it on their portal that you can test self-report on their portal, and they will literally give you sliders or values you can put in there. Or the final option is your counselor can report it on your behalf. So basically what you do is that after you have your test results, you basically send the test results to your counselor so that when your counselor is filling up the Common App on their end, they can attach it to your transcript and basically submit it for you. And that way the schools, when they're looking through your application, they're going to see it. And then for some schools, if your counselor literally reports it for you, it's considered official for some schools. But for some schools, they will just accept it regardless and still request that you send it officially. And by officially, they want College Board themselves to send the results to them, not you or your counselor reporting it. So those are the way it works. So by knowing all this, we can go on to the steps of basically signing up for Common App and applying to the schools we want and something. We're going to go through everything for start, and we're going to create an account. Basically all I did was I basically just typed commonapp.org right here, and we're just basically going to create an account and basically go through the process. All right, we're just going to hit create an account. So it's just this, and then what you just tell yourself is that you are a first year student mostly. Then you put in your address. So we're going to put in our address, ghprepscholar. I'm just going to use this one, and then we're just going to do the same thing. And then we do choose my password. So basically I will just fill in the date of birth. So we will just do 2000, basically September 1st. Address, you basically just select, I think in this case you pick Ghana, and then obviously with the addresses they would give you guys an address. So you just look at one So you just say address not in list. If you don't see it, if you start typing, you don't see it, you just continue. They'll let you do it. So you basically type in your address. So one, so-called Ban Road, and then you just do so-called Ban. I don't know where it is, honestly. I just think it's in here. I don't honestly know where it is, but put in your address. Basically, if you don't know your address, just put in like the closest thing you remember, or your school address, or the road, but not your PO box, not PO box, not PO box, the street name. Like try and remember the streets where your home is at, like whatever street is on, whether it's on a certain road, whatever road it's on, and then the number of your house, the plot block, and then basically you're not in Europe, you're a first year student, you're doing this, you agree here, and then you try and create. Yeah. So now you are really, really here. That's your dashboard, pretty much. You basically do this. You can start putting the colleges in there you want. So pretty much what you can do is that, like, it's very whatever here. You can put the colleges you are interested in. You do a college search. So let's say you're interested in a certain college. In fact, honestly, as soon as you start typing, the college will come. Let's say you're interested in Cornell, it will come, you add Cornell to your list, and then it will add. And sometimes there's a difference between Cornell University and Cornell colleges. Sometimes you're looking for the Ivy League one, so check the address. Sometimes it'll tell you which exactly one it is, and just be mindful. And then let's say Minerva University. That's my university. You can put it there as well. So now we have two colleges in there in our colleges, and then you can put the stuff. But first of all, the most important thing is you can start putting the colleges that you want in there, that you're interested in. And then let's say, for instance, you're interested in Cornell Elite, that's your dream school, Ivy League. You want to go in there. You can put in so this task can be filled. So your degree seeking one, start term. For most of them will give you that. Some schools might give you of spring of 2023. You can start as early as January. But if you're going to do that, that means you need to probably do their early decision program. So, but fall is like normally August, September. So you go there August, September. So yeah, that you can do early decision. And then, are you currently serving in the U.S. military? Those questions you basically say either no or not applicable, honestly. Whether you're interested in these things, these programs, well, most likely these military ones are probably saying, no, I'm not interested. If you're started on the early decision plan, they explain everything to you here. You must withdraw, whatever. Yes, you have to understand it. You sign, you put your name there, pretty much, which is your name. And then, have you been a candidate? If you've never applied before, it's your first time, just say no. And then, are you interested in having a conversation with the admissions alumni? Sometimes it's part of the interview process, the application process, that you get to do interviews, as I said, right? Speaking to alumni. If you have to, you don't have to, but if there's an option and you want to, you can say yes. But the only thing is that you just have to prepare. It's really not that hard. They just want to learn more about you and your interest in applying, in wanting to study at Cornell. So, for instance, if you have a really, really strong interest, let's say there's a certain professor there that inspired you and you really want to take on this work with them, whatever, like, because it's also, as I said, it's always a data point. If it's not there, it's fine. A lot of people get accepted into universities without having to do interviews. So, you don't really need it, but if you feel like it will help your case, then yes, go ahead and do it. So, that's, you can say yes, and then you can do, have you been granted a Cornell specific fee waiver code? Now, the thing is that applying to all these schools, that's one thing I need to talk about. Applying to all these schools, let's say you either this or applying to use another specific type of fee waiver, or you actually try to pay your fees. But normally, now this is the other thing. Applying to all these schools is costly. Like, I think for most schools, applying to them is like around, you'll be paying from anywhere from $50 to $100 per school, depending. So on average, you'll be paying like around $60 to submit an application to a school. So let's say if you're applying to 10 schools, that's like around $600 ish. That's hundreds of dollars. So if you're applying to more schools, you could get easily into thousands of dollars. So normally there is a way around it. For normally, if you definitely cannot afford it, if you can't afford to pay for these fees, which normally you're like in our situation is going to be very hard, like to pay all that money, it would represent a burden for your family. One way to go about it is that your counselor can literally waive it for you. So when you invite your counselor will have the option. Just let your counselor know you tell your counselor that you would want them to waive the common app fees to submit your applications to colleges. And when your counselor is filling the application on their end, they will be notified, and then they can waive it for you. Obviously, your counselor knows you. They know you in school. They know how much, when you, like, your bills and things came. They know whether you were on scholarship or like how much you were paying. They know about your family situation, so they can literally waive it for you in that case. So you don't have to pay for it. So in case, so yeah, you can just go ahead and fill these things. And so, but before we go into these school specific stuff, the most important thing is to actually go to the Common App and fill out the Common App. That's what we're gonna do. So our first name is this. I don't have any different name. You can put in your middle name if you have it there, put your last name, suffix. You don't have to. Any options that are red starred, you have to fill it. But obviously, as always, but the other ones, I can say no, date, birth, I continue, and then that is the part is to fill up this whole thing. So I don't have any other alternate mailing address. Let's say if you're in boarding school, so I say no alternate one. I just continue. Contact details, it's heart's number there, or your sibling, someone else who they can reach out to, but it's really not that important if your number works. Put in your gender, legal sex, pronouns, none, no, Black or African American, Africa, continue. What languages? You can say one or two, whichever one. Honestly, I'll just put one. And I'll just put English. Honestly, you can put Akan, there's Chi. I can speak Chi, but yeah, you can just put everything here spoken at home. Just see that it's really not that hard. Birth country, Ghana. City of birth, you can put it there. Whatever city, it's on your passport. That's why your passport is also important. But I think you already know how many years have you lived in the United States. You can say 0. Citizenship status, you're a citizen of non-US countries of legal citizenship, Ghana. Only if you have multiple ones, you can put them there. Do you currently hold a US visa? In most of you, you'll be no. Do you intend to apply for a new visa? You say yes. The visa type, you can say F1, because that's, you want to be a student here, so you'd say F1, and then you continue. Common App fee waiver. Am I eligible? You can be eligible for it if you meet one of the following criteria. This is mainly for US stuff, but you can basically provide a statement from a school official as your counselor or community leader. So that's why I said you can literally let your counselor do that for you. So you can say yes, you do, and then you put your name there. Yep, you put your name there, and then would you like to connect with this? You can say yes, it doesn't hurt, but honestly, it's really not that important. But you can just put your details there and say yes. Why? It doesn't hurt. Your parents, if they're married, if they're separate, you can put it there. Which home do you make your permanent home? Both parents. Do you have any children? No. I'm just normally I'm feeling this in like what I'm thinking the typical Ghanaian person would be. So parent one, you can put your father, live in. You don't have to put a name there. You can honestly put, I'm going to just put the same name there, honestly. Like, but obviously put your dad's name there if you do have it. And then, yeah, you don't even, you can put their email there if you want them to communicate with them, so that, like, sometimes in case, it was good because sometimes if the application process is so overwhelming, they can, like, they can help you, or they can remind you. Like my dad was always reminding me of some things, so you can have it there. And the education level of your dad or whatever. So if they finished the university, you can put it there. Total number of institutions attended, you can just put it there, one, and then they can look up the college. Or then you can just basically, I think if your parents, you can try and find it. I think what you can do is that you can search by country, and then you can search Ghana, basically. So it looks at if you don't see it, if it's not in any of the in Ghana, you can just say you don't see the college there, and then you can put the college there, where you can type out Kwame Nkrumah University, the whole thing, and you can type out in Ghana, but I'm just doing KNUST, and then you can just put the whole information there, everything in here. Honestly, it's basically the same thing. You can continue, so that you do for your dad, and then your second one is your mom, live in, the same thing as here. For here, like, put your mom's name there, honestly, though. So I'm just not putting mine there. And the email, you don't have to, if it's not started, you don't have to put it there, but you can put it there to fill in, because you can have as much information as possible, but you really don't have to. And then occupation, former occupation. Oh yeah, I mean, I think for my dad's one, I forgot to put it there, but if your dad, whatever occupation it is, you can put it there. or you can just say unemployed if they are not. So um, unemployed. I think if they're not employed, if you don't have to put in anything there. If you don't put in anything there, it means they're unemployed, honestly. Or you can type whatever is there. But I think you can put other too if it's not in there. Or yeah, but if it's something, let's say my mom is a teacher, I'll put it there. And then yeah, occupation or formal occupation, you can put it there. Employment status, you can just say unemployed. But let's say employed. Um, not employed at a college or university. Name of current employer. You can put the name of the school they teach there or wherever it is. You can say I said teacher, so I'd probably say SOS high school, something like that. And then education level, let's say they completed some school or community college, wherever. Or you can basically just say education level none. Like I'm feeling it because, like, let's say if your mom never went to school or something, which sometimes is the case, you can basically just put. Then in that case, you just do none, education level this, and then you just continue. Honestly, in that case, it works. And then the number of siblings you have. If you have five, if you have more than five, just put five there max. Honestly, but normally, if you have zeros or like just say one, you can just put the same things there. Like for your sibling, put the actual name, the age of your sibling. Let's say 20. That you can put this there. Basically, you have your family information, and then obviously where is it? I think I didn't fill up the whole thing here. Oh, okay, makes sense. My parents one. Oh, one degree, let's say received bachelor's, year received. Just honestly talk to your dad. If not, you can like take an estimate. Honestly, you can just estimate, or you can ask them honestly. So you can just say they finished in 2000 education. So your high school. So you find your high school. Normally, I think you can just do it by country, and then you can just type Ghana, and then it will tell us all the high schools in here. Sometimes your school will not be there. If it's in here, go ahead and take it straight. But if it's not, like, yeah, most of us are not homeschooled, so you can say you don't see. Most people will probably not see the high school in this list, but some of you might. Then you just put your high school there. I'll put mine there. So St. James Seminary, um, and then I'll put senior high, and then I put it there. School type, religious, whatever. Public, you can put it there. I'd say mostly it's public. Most of the schools, if it's private, whatever, put it there. Put the school address there. Sometimes you don't even know the address. You just put it there. Oh no, not in this one. But obviously, I think it's it's treating us like this. It's Ghana, so you do it so that the state is basically shunt. No, it's brown half full. Um, and then you probably don't even need to put any of them there, honestly. But you can put it there to get for them to get more information, so it doesn't look like suspicious. Like, why are you not putting the information there? When did you enter the school? Put a day you enter the school. If you don't remember the exact one, just put the month. I think most people, it depends. For me, I started in October of whatever year I was in there, so I can put it there like it's a boarding school. Did I live on campus? Did you or will you graduate? Graduation date you put when you graduate. This is very important. Like as I said, some of you are probably already done with school and you are now applying. In that case, you are taking a gap year. You are taking a gap year because now you were done, you finished writing your WASI this year, like this May or this June. When you're applying right now, you're not probably going to go till next year. So because you're not going to school this year, university this year in the US, you are taking a gap year. You are taking a gap year. But if you were going to go like those that are applying, let's say in their final year, like let's say right now, as of now, you're in your final year of high school. Let's say you're in your final year and you are going through this Common App right now, and then you get your offer. Basically, let's say you're in your final year. That means you're going to write your WASI next year, like next year, May or June. Which means that you've already gotten your offer, let's say early decision, you got it by December of this year, but you're going to write your WASI next year. Now, what will happen is that way you're not taking a gap year. So that way you just select no change in progression. But for I know a good amount of you guys, you're already done with high school. You're already done. If you are done, in that case, you are taking a gap year. So you have to say this, that you're taking a gap year. So you say a gap year, and then obviously you have like 250 words to talk about why you're taking that gap year. Obviously, like either you can go the route of explaining the system, or you can actually go on the route of actually like the things you were doing during the gap year. So you can be saying that maybe you took that gap year because you wanted to like do something. Maybe it was financial reasons why, or you took that time to actually be able to take on some volunteering or like some social projects in your community, which you felt like you might not have that much time if you go to university. So, you can give a very good reason for that, or you can just go ahead and explain or say, okay, you wanted to take it, like whichever route works for you, honestly. So, because at every point that you have a chance to write words, it's a chance for you to win the school in your favor. So I normally would say take the approach where you can actually say stuff that would be like, oh, okay, nice, okay, this is a very nice applicant or something. So just say, okay, wanted to do more social projects. This is not all out I've written. I've written something better, but I can give, if you guys want, I can put in the comment section, I'll put in like a sample of what I wrote and what was really beautiful. So you can put that there. If not, like I'm just writing this so I can hit the continue. So location, have you attended, not listed in the previous section? I think you've probably said it all, but if you attended multiple high schools, put it there. But I think most of you would have just attended one, so you can just put this one there. If you do two, you might have to get the counselors from all these schools or not, or like it depends. So have you taken a course at the college or university? Most of you will be no. So just say 0. Your grades, exactly. Your graduating size, this is where your transcripts and everything, your school matters. But like your graduating size, you have an idea of your graduating size. I think from my own, it was 317. And my rank, I know my position in the class, or I know my top percentage. So you can put your class there, and it's unweighted. Most likely it's unweighted. Like most, especially in a Ghanaian system, is very unweighted. It's like unweighted means as well. Weighted is like if you're taking these special classes like honors or APs and stuff, which is more in the US is, but in Ghana, really, you don't have to care about weighted. It's really unweighted. And your GPA, I know in Ghana we don't really do GPAs for high schools, but you can literally calculate your GPA, or you don't even have to do the GPA because we really don't have GPA. It's not like a thing here. So you don't have to answer these questions, but definitely your rank, you can report it because that's a start one. So if you don't know it, but if your school has a GPA, you can put it there. But honestly, you can also calculate your GPA, honestly, like if you really wanted to. Like you can try and make like an approximation of it, because an A, you can consider whenever you get an A in a subject, it's a 4.0, a B2 is this, and like try and do it. But honestly, you don't need to. You really don't need to. Like, yeah. So, yeah, I think in going back to that one, if you can't remember if you were your exact position in your class, you can do the percentiles as well, whether you're in the top 10% of your class, top 20, top 30, and you can put it there. But yeah, whatever you put there has to sort of correlate with whatever your counselor thinks. So you can ask your counselor for that information. And then, because if your counselor now says you were not number 1, you say number 10, and then you say you're number 1, it sounds there's discrepancy. So just make sure. So in your grades, how many courses? That's where your transcript is important. So all the subjects on your classes. I think most of them, because this WASI, in the WASI system, we have 8 subjects. I just reported the 8 subjects I did, and then I think in our system, as you remember in my transcript, I had first term, second term, third term. So it's 3 times. So that makes it a trimester. If you are a semester, you can basically report if you just have only 2 terms in a year. Because in my school we have 3 terms in a year, I just prefer trimester. So trimester, and then basically, yeah, you can report 8 subjects. I don't want to report all 8; it will take time, but I'll just report 2 of them. But you should report all the subjects that are on your transcript. Every single one on your transcript, report it. I'm just doing 2 of them because I don't want, like, it will take too much time. But like, let's say the subject I'm reporting is physics. Like if it's there, just type it there. Course 1 subject, course 1. It's a subject in physics, and it's called just physics, honestly. So you just call it yeah. But if it's not called physics, just you can put other one there, and then the course 1 level, basically, as I said, like AP, whatever, college prep, dual enrollment, GSC, gifted, honors, intensive, put it there. But honestly, if it's regular, you can just say regular, because I think we are like really regular. So the schedule, how many times you take it a year. So basically, for your first, third trimester, like you basically took it the full year. Like basically, you take it the full year. Because I think you take it the whole like year. Honestly, you take it all your 3 years. So pretty much, you do you do it all, and then your course 2 subjects, wherever it is. If it's not in there, I think you can probably type. Let's say social, yeah, social science. Most of them will be there, honestly. Biology will be there. Math, let's say math other. So yeah, so math other, you can just say elective. Yeah, other elective, and then you can type. Let's say for selective, like you can just type elective math. I think all the subjects should be there honestly, and then it should be regular, and then course two schedule full year, and then you just pretty much continue. Like you put in all the 8 subjects, honestly. Do you wish to report your honors? This is where the document about all the honors and achievements you've done is there. You can just say, okay, overall best students, and you won this in like let's say your 12th grade, you won in your 10th, 11th. Now you only have to do 10, 11, 12 because as I said, grade 9 is the equivalent of JHS3, which is your middle school. So, which is like your final year of JHS, which is when you write your BEC. In our case, it's from 10th grade to 12th grade. So, we only have JHS, SS1, SHS2, SHS3. So, you can put that one there and you can say the level, whether your overall best student you wanted this. Let's say you overall WASI best student somehow. Overall WASI best student. What you can just is that you are like international, the whole of West Africa. So you can put it there. Or you can put national Ghana and international. Whichever one you select. Let's say you were regional, let's say you were in your regional, your zonal, you were regional national science and math quiz. Yeah, a math quiz winner. You can put it there in your region and then you select this. So you select based on the level, which is why it's important to take care of these honors and things. Let's say, so for instance, you select this one. You can add honors, you can add up to 5 of them, which is basically like academic achievements, like all the academic stuff you did, like all the stuff that is related to academics. Let's say your national science and maths, that's academics. You were basically like valedictorian, you were overall best chemistry student or physics student. Let's say you were second best chemistry or physics student in your school. You were like you won Olympia. Let's say you won like whatever competition that is related to academics. You can put it there. If you are unsure of whether it qualifies as well, always you can email us on ghprepscholar@gmail.com or put in the comment section and we can put it there. We can answer for you. So you can just add other honors up to 5 to put your best 5 there. Your very strong 5. And honestly, you should put them your strong 5 in terms of rank them. If it's an international one, put them there before you put national ones there, before you put regional ones there, before you put your school there. Like you get it. So yeah, community programs that are providing you with free assistance to your application process, just say 0. Like you're doing it on your own. Even if you're doing it through the other agencies and stuff, it's ideal if you just do it. You're doing it on your own. Like if you don't want to answer so many questions. So future plans, whatever you want to be in future. Let's say you want to be an engineer, you put it there. Highest degree you intend to earn, you can just say undecided, or you can just say PhD. Honestly, you can put it there, whatever you want. In addition to sending official score reports, do you wish to self-report? Because this is what I was talking about. So you can say yes, and then now you can say SAT subject or whatever, whichever ones you have there. One thing is for Ghana, you really don't need to take the test of English. So the IELTS or the TOEFL of the English language proficiency is because all your course structures are taught in English, and literally like English is the official language of the country, so you don't have to do it. You don't have to take that test. You already can speak English, right? If you really want to take it, sure. You really don't have to take it, like if you don't want to and waste more money. So you can say SAT test. You can submit that one, and obviously this question you have to say yes because it's promotion within your based on a leaving examination, and the standard leaving examination in Ghana is the WASI. Yes, so you say yes and you continue, and then they'll throw another one in here, which the number of SAT. Let's say you want to report, have you taken the SAT essay? If you say yes, you can take the SAT essay. It's optional if you want to, but I'd probably say no, I don't want to take it. How many of future SAT sitters, let's say in the future, you can just say 0, and you can always come back and change these answers if you want. So whichever score you had in your reading, you can put like it there. Let's say you got 750 in your reading, and then you took it like highest mark score. Let's say you had 790, and then let's say the math date. Like so, in this case, let's say in case you've taken multiple SAT tests, they're just asking you for your highest mark ever and your highest reading ever. So in that case, they're doing something called a super score. They're super scoring you. So but if you've only taken one of it, you pretty much have to submit the same thing. So in this case, that's a very, very good score. So November 4th, 2021. Yep. and then you continue. So you can self-report. And that way, after they accept you, you have to do it. And then the number of, you just say one examination you took. Oh, yeah, the examination board is basically what's the, so yes, this one, but because based on the number of subjects you took, so let's say you took eight, like normally most people would take eight, so you put the eight there, and then you say the dates you took them. Honestly, you don't even have to remember the exact dates. If you took them in 2022, May, just say May 2022, and then just put the subject there, and then the score you got, whether it was like A1, and then you can say actual if you actually have the results. But if you don't have the results and this is what you predict that you will get, you can put predicted there if you're still like in your final year of high school. But if you're already done and you already know your score, put it there as the actual one, and then the dates taken for the next ones. But I'm not going to do all eight. I'm just going to say one. Like you should put all eight there, whichever number you took. So let's say I just did math. I'll put it there, A1. You do it, and for the other ones, you just fill it like that. And then yeah, activities. Yes, this is where your extracurricular activities you did, you put them there. So here, let's say okay, I was athletics varsity. So the sports team, I'd say soccer, which is the same as football here. So you just say soccer. So you were like okay, captain of your school's captain of school of school soccer team, something like that. And then organization name, basically like St. James Seminary Soccer, something like that. You don't even need to put it there. And then describe it like basically whatever you did during that, you're basically the captain, okay, captain the team to uh three back to back regional and national titles in let's say whatever competition it is. Let's say the cowbell, whatever cowbell competition, cowbell national competition, national high school soccer league. Like be very descriptive. Talk about exactly what you did. Talk about how you impacted the team, your role in there, the impact. Let's say you were able to recruit, let's say, 20 other players within your lifetime there, and you were able to actually help, let's say, three other players be able to grow to actually win, like become like something like that, or you're able to like, you know what, hold training sessions, like talk about exactly all the things you did, the impact there. You get it? So not just the role, but your impact there, like you really did it. And then what levels? Let's say you did it from your start of high school to when you graduated, and you did it like during the school year. Let's say during the school break you were doing other stuff, but then a number of hours spent per week. Let's say you remember you go for practice on Tuesdays, Thursdays, 2 hours on Tuesdays, so 4 hours a day. So per like number of weeks, let's say in a semester, let's say you're going for 40 weeks of school year. So pretty much you can put this there, and do you intend to? You can say yes. So just be very descriptive. I can also, if you guys want, I can put like my activities, the things I did, or like how to actually write really, really good ones there. Like, I mean, really be descriptive here. Like, but also this is the option where when you have to describe it, sometimes pictures and videos are better than words. If you have a YouTube video, videos of you actually playing or certificates of it. Now, if you have the certificate saved on Google Drive or anything, just put the link there, paste the link there, whatever link, HTTPS, whatever link, copy the link and paste it there so that they can actually open it and look at it. If it's a YouTube video showing like you winning your awards or like of you playing the soccer actually to show how good you are at some competitions, create a YouTube video of all those activities, really, so that like it doesn't waste time showing unnecessary parts, showing the necessary parts, and just like add a YouTube video link there, and it can really, really help. So in that case, you can then add other activities that you want. So you can add as much as 10. So what I'd always recommend is pick your 10 best activities and like put them there. Especially normally, as always, put the activities. Weeks spent per year. So let's say you spent 40 weeks in a year. So yeah, sorry, hours spent per week, we spent per year, so they can calculate. So pretty much, if you're 10, rank them. Your best ones should be the ones that are of a high level. Let's say you did some international ones before national competitions or national activities before school ones or personal ones. Let's say you're a pianist, you play your church. Like talk about it, show how you play. You are the pianist for your whole congregation at church. Like whatever it is. So in that case, you add other activities, follow the same pattern, and then you just continue. And the next thing you do now is the writing. See, we are literally getting to the end of it, and basically this part is the most for me, in my opinion, like the best piece of it, because it's the part where you really need to think a lot and you need to spend a lot of time because you need to craft one really good essay, and this essay is what is going to be submitted to all the schools. So although for some of the schools they would have some college specific essays which are normally shorter, but this essay would be submitted to all of them. So yeah, you can read it here. You basically, most of the schools will require it. Some schools might not, like this one do not require it, but like you have to write it anyways. So they're gonna give you like topics where you can pick from. But normally the best thing that I always go for is to pick this one. Really, because all these other essay topics here can literally come down to this one to share an essay of any topic of your choice, so that you're not constrained or you're not talking about an essay that. Because if you go and pick these ones, talking about something, and what if it doesn't really reflect on that topic, you know? So really take this one and talk about it. And for me, obviously, I cannot show you what essay to write. If you guys want to know the kind of essays that like some me or a couple of my friends wrote, that like essays that obviously landed people into top schools or schools in general, you can let me know in the comment section. We can do well to have some interviews or stuff to show you guys. But basically, this is where you write your essays. You basically write your essays and like you write, and then you write your essays and everything. And then you basically just hit disruptions, natural disasters. If COVID affected you or something like this, you can share about it. Because the thing is, the more you can talk, if you don't have anything to share, you can just say no. If you want to provide extra information about yourself that is not in the application, because any extra space you can get to talk, you can talk. If you feel like you really want to talk more, talk. But obviously, if you're going to talk more, it has to be beneficial. Like, and you can talk extra if you want to. But if you don't want to just say no, honestly, and you can just continue. So, see, pretty much, the colleges here do not require you to put your grades at like the courses you've taken in high school. So basically, in this case, yeah, yeah. So basically, some schools, like we've only added Cornell and Minerva. If you add other schools, some schools might require you to have this. So if some schools require you to actually have this, you have to have your transcript ready as also. And then basically, you just literally, basically, you're just looking through your transcript and literally looking through the courses you took. Like basically, like the same way we filled it for this WASI, where you put your courses there, you just fill it for like your transcript courses. Let's say physics, what did you get, the grades you got overall, like something like that. It's really not that hard. Go back to your colleges. So now we're done with the main coming up, and now basically when you do yeah, so Cornell University, you can just go here. We can keep continuing what we were filling up. So here, see, to send application fees, like for international students, it's $80. You probably don't have all that money, so you can go through that approach we took. And then basically what you do is that the college information is here, and an application, we fill the general parts. We have to go through the academics parts. Which college school, let's say you're applying to Cornell engineering, whatever engineering, which anticipated major you can choose. Did when you do most recently take a physics course. I've taken it in grade 12. What's the highest math you'd have completed by this? I think mostly, yeah, we don't have things like calculus and things, but in elective math you always take calculus. So if you took elective math, you probably took calculus. If you took core math, you did. But if you're going to select engineering, most likely you probably took elective math. So you took some high level of math. So you can say you took calculus. So yeah, so yeah, you the equivalent of more than two classes of calculus, because you took integration and differentiation honestly in class. Have you taken a chemistry course? You can just say yes. What three best words describe you? Be honest. Be like, you can either go on the approach or say really genuine about you, but normally because it's an application thing, go with words that probably will not let someone forget you. But I think I'll just say A, B, C, whatever. I'm just trying to fill it. Just this is parts where it's beyond my scope, unless you guys want to do it. But then I just did A, B, C. I think I'll just do A, B, and C here. So what words would you use to describe Cornell engineering? Let's say intimidating, hard again. In the end, your resume, you remember we asked you to have your resume ready. So you can upload it. It's always optional, but it's also a good thing. You can upload it. If you don't have it, it's totally fine. It will still green check it for you. Have you previously applied? No. If you have, I don't want to be contacted by mobile. I want everything to be through email. Sure. Contacts and background. Yeah. Did you do what do you do like in the house? Just fill them. Some of these questions are really not that hard. Just fill me. are any siblings? No. Have any relatives? If yes, sure. But none of these apply. You can just say no. And then, have you ever been ejected, felony, like basically any crimes or something like that? Just no. You can complete the fair part release, basically, um, which is basically recommenders and stuff. So you're basically saying that you allow recommenders and parents, whatever, to be able to. What this means is that basically you're telling them that the schools that you've attended can look at the information you're using to apply to the schools, and then they may contact like these schools, like let's say you're applying to Cornell, for instance. Cornell, you're giving Cornell the right to be able to contact your school to confirm and verify the information that you're putting there. So basically, yeah, blah 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 blah. Then you put your name there. So flip this, and then you can select today's date, and then you can just save and close, and then you just do it. Honestly, it's really not that hard. And then this is where you invite the recommenders and your counselor and your parent. Yeah, your parents. You have to also put your parents' email there and your teacher. Basically, if your parents, like I know some of you, your parents might not really be like tech savvy and stuff. If that's the case, honestly, sometimes some of your parents don't even have an email or whatever. Just try and create an email for your parents and like let your parents just check the box, or like just do it with your parent and like let your parent know that you did this for them. Like you get it, like yeah. So it's really not that hard, but all of them follow like the same scenario. So I think for each of the schools, they will have a certain amount of recommenders they want you to have. Sometimes they're optionals, but normally all I just go for is at least the counselors are required, and the teachers are also normally required for most. But like something that will save you is at least have two teachers and one counselor. Once you have that, normally you are done. Like you don't need more than that. So yeah. So now you invite your counselor, you put your counselor's email address there, their name, their last name, and basically that will just invite them. And then your parent to the parent's email address, you like your parent to complete and say yes. You basically say yes, you do whatever their names, their email address, and then to send an email to them to confirm it. And then your teachers also, you invite a teacher, your evaluation, say yes, email address, your teacher's name, the teacher, your subject, the subject your teacher teaches, and then basically you would like them to complete, say yes, and then you invite, and you do it again for another one, and then you can invite recommenders, whether you want to invite, whatever. So it's basically very, very easy. Like you don't. Minerva, on the other hand, it's a bit different. Like I think Minerva, after you submit this information, what you have to do is that you have to basically like update your other parts of the yeah, you have to complete other parts of the application on their platform. So in the end, this is basically it. And once you fill it, these two, you're basically done like filling for these colleges. And like after you go through every single thing, like you filled it, fill the common app. So for some colleges, I told you they have some college specific questions. So what you do is that basically you go and answer the questions, which is basically some probably more essays. You pick either an essay choice and you write essay about it, honestly. Then you pick an essay and then you write about it, honestly. So it's pretty much you. And then after you're done with all of them, you just review and submit your common app. Yeah, you have to invite the recommenders and stuff. So I've not done that yet, but yeah, you invite recommenders and whatever. And then for the writing supplement too, once you're done, you you have to submit first. For you to submit this role, you have to submit the application first, and then you submit the writing supplement, and then you just do a review and submit, and then you check boxes, and basically you just sign by just typing your name, selecting the date, and then you hit submit. So that is pretty much it. And you just do this. If you're studying for early decision, November 1st, always, and then you can add your term decision plan. But basically, this is it. Like with this, you can apply to these colleges, and you can literally. So obviously, this is like literally taking you to the process. See, the process was very, very within a max of 30 minutes. Like, fine, I know I didn't fill up everything, but honestly, within an hour max, you will be done like a fledged application ready. And then probably, obviously, you need to spend time to write really good essays and everything. So I know normally during this time, while you're still preparing for the SAT, you are probably still also filling different parts of your application here. You're also thinking about, so sometimes like when I was preparing for the SAT, on days where I was tired, I wanted to just relax off SAT, I'll just be thinking about the essays, thinking about literally like what to write, ideas, read, Google, like look at previous seniors, previous people, what they wrote, to give me an idea, obviously. So obviously, like that's beyond the scope for us. The main goal is for us to be able to show you literally the steps to be able to literally submit the application. Like as always, we're not here to tell you, okay, we're not going to tell you like all these other test prep consultants that, hey, we're going to let you enter school. No, we don't do that. That totally is not in our control. But what we're going to do is that we're going to give you a fair shot of submitting a full application. So if you have questions, but we can go beyond. If you want to see other essays, the essays you have to write on your own. Like you have to, it has to be unique about you. It's something about you you want to tell the schools. Well, obviously, the way to write it and express yourself can be learned. And obviously, if you want to see essays to inspire you or see the ideas or the level of way, you don't have to use the big English and stuff. Trust me, it doesn't even matter. It's really just being able to like really make whoever reads your essay really remember you and see that, okay, this candidate is like really has like told them something that when they go to the admission table or the committee table, they can vote, they can vouch for you literally. So this is the end for this playlist section. Let me know if you got things you guys will answer. The comment sections are there. Email no ghprepscholar@gmail.com. Thank you, and see you guys next time.